Good evening, everyone. I'm Harry Martin. Brenda is off. This is a case that drew national attention. It was an emotional day in court as the judge handed down his punishment in the webcam spy case. Ravi even cried in the courtroom. It was a rare glimpse of emotion from him. But in the end, neither the defense nor the prosecution was happy with the 30-day sentence. Sharon Crowley is in our newsroom to explain why. Sharon?
Well, Harry, the prosecutor may even appeal the 30-day jail sentence handed down to the former Rutgers University student. Ravi was convicted for using a webcam to spy on his roommate, Tyler Clementi. Now, his supporters did not want him to do any jail time, and Ravi's critics, well, they're also not happy. They say the sentence today was too lenient. Darun Ravi cried as his mother begged the judge not to send her son to jail.
As a mother, I feel that Darun has really suffered enough. My 20-year-old son already has too much burden on his shoulder to face for the rest of his life.
The judge sentenced the former Rutgers freshman to 30 days and 300 hours of community service and several years probation. Ravi was convicted of bias, intimidation, and invasion of privacy for using a webcam to spy on his roommate with another man. Later, his roommate, Tyler Clementi, jumped to his death from the George Washington Bridge.
Tyler and I had been very connected, so much so that I felt like a piece of me died in September of 2010.
Clementi's dad said the last thing his son did before committing suicide was to check the tweets Ravi posted about the incident.
Mr. Ravi still does not get it. He has no remorse.
The case and today's sentencing generated national attention. It sparked emotions on both sides. Ravi's supporters say they wanted to see him set free.
I find it harsh. I find it harsh.
Today, some gay rights advocates were disappointed with the sentence. They wanted the judge to hand down a stricter punishment.
30 days isn't a moderate sentence. 30 days is barely a sentence.
Now, during the sentencing, the judge told Ravi he showed no remorse. He also ordered him to undergo counseling, Harry, and sensitivity training. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
And now we're taking on the Darun Ravi sentencing. Was justice served? That's what we're debating tonight. Joining us right now, former prosecutor Joseph Maurice and Fordham law professor and former federal prosecutor Anne-Marie McAvoy. Did we take the emotion out of it? Did the court view this as an unemotional kind of sentence?
I would say they did. I think it's a very reasoned decision. I think he took into account the fact that when you really looked at the facts here, this was a situation where some young kids, college students, they looked for a couple of seconds at a couple of guys kissing on a feet and they shut it off. And then maybe put it on a couple of seconds, shut it off. This was not the huge thing that the press and that we had thought that it was in the media, because when people actually testified, the facts turned out to be very different, and I think the judge really looked at that.
And Joe, what do you think? Was justice served here? Was the sentence stiff enough?
I don't think that enough was done based upon what the verdict was. Well, you have a second-degree verdict. A jury determined that Mr. Ravi was guilty.
So clarify that for us, would you?
With second-degree verdict, you have the exposure of 5 to 10 years, and you can move down with a downward departure, usually within a customary third-degree range.
He should get at least, what you're saying, at least 3 years?
Normally, you'd see with someone getting leniency a three-year sentence.
But had Tyler Clementi not committed suicide, had this not have been a gay encounter, do you think we would have made as much of this case as what was made of it? Anne-Marie?
I think there's no question that I don't think any of us would have ever heard of it. And I think that it wouldn't have been in court, and it would have been handled in a very different way than it was.
Even the judge pointed out today that there didn't seem to be any remorse.
You have to look at the character of the defendant in terms of whether you're going to grant this exceptional downward departure, which the judge did, even though he found that there was no remorse. But you would have expected someone in his position to would have stood in front of the court and made a sincere apology.
A lot of people are saying that the ultimate penalty here is really the fact that he will be deported eventually. Well, what do you think about that, Anne-Marie?
Well, I think that given that he gave him such a short sentence, that may also mean that he won't be deported. There's a real question, though, and this kid has to worry about whether he will eventually be deported or not.
Joe?
Yeah, there are a lot of outside punishments, but that's not the issue. The issue is under the law and our statute, when we have a second-degree crime, whether that sentence was appropriate. And that sentence, from what the judge said on the bench, doesn't seem to fit the sentence that he gave Mr. Ravi.
Okay. We're out of time. Anne-Marie McAvoy, Joseph Maurice, we thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you think about this? Do you think that justice was served? Facebook fan Carmen says yes. It's not like he pushed that young man off the bridge. You can join in the conversation on our Facebook page, My9TV. First become a fan, then you post your comments. We'll read some of the best ones live on TV in just a few minutes.